at rebelnews.com. It's May 27th, and welcome to our daily noontime live stream. I do it Monday, Wednesday, Friday. My friends Sheila Gunn Reid and David Menzies do it Tuesday, Thursday. For about 2 months, we've been doing this daily live stream, not quite 2 months, talking mainly about the pandemic. Thankfully, it's subsiding, or at least the virus itself is. The political overreaction, not so much. But the Chinese Communist Party that runs Beijing and the People's Republic of China, they have taken this crisis as a great opportunity. They've flattened the economies of the world, but since China has the world's largest foreign currency reserves, they're going in and buying things up at fire sale prices. Can you grab me the new Naziac news story? For example, in northern Canada, there's a strategic mine in our north. I would say everything in north of Canada is strategic. Commodity prices are depressed, the economy's depressed, stock market's hurting. So China just put in a stink bid for, what, $200 million to buy up. That's nothing to them. So here we go, Nunavut's Hope Bay Goldfields to be bought by China's Shandong Gold. We look forward to completion of the transaction and the opportunity to invest in the project for years. Yeah, do you want to give China access to Canada's north? Me neither, but that's one of thousands of opportunistic moves made by a confident, dominant, strong, and rich China preying upon stupid, weak, submissive, and naive countries, including, I regret to report, Canada. Today, in fact, in mere moments, perhaps even right now, at this very moment, in Vancouver, Canada, Meng Wanzhou, the daughter of the founder of Huawei, the huge internet company, IT company, tech company, cell phone company, 5G company, is learning the verdict in her trial. Can you grab that tweet that I tweeted yesterday about this? There's a reporter named Jennifer Zhang who works for NTD TV. And last night she tweeted an official Chinese source, like the Chinese government propaganda, saying Meng Wanzhou will win and she will be returned back to China within 4 days. Not we think she'll win or we hope she'll win or she ought to win, but they were reporting it as if they had the facts. And it seemed quite specific in that they had that 4-day mention there. Let me know if you need me to dig it up. It's just Jennifer Zhang at NTD. I would have retweeted that at like midnight last night or something. How did China know? I mean, I don't know. Maybe they're wrong. We'll find out. There we go. Thank you very much. Jennifer Zhang. Wow. So this is last night. This was posted at like midnight or something yesterday. Wow. Chinese media is announcing that Huawei's Meng Wanzhou will be released after the Canada court finds her innocent and she can return to China in 4 days. By the way, the court will decide her fate tomorrow. So that's quite something that China was officially announcing the result before it was released. It's almost like Huawei might have hacked the courthouse. No, that's impossible. I mean, they don't have the ability, Huawei, the world's largest tech company by many measures, competitive to Google by many measures, the 5G bosses. Look, if these people can hack into the Pentagon, they can hack into the Vancouver courthouse. What, do they lack the means? Do they lack the motive? Do they lack the opportunity? Of course they hacked in. We'll find out very, very shortly if, in fact, that they did hack. Well, we won't know if they hacked, but we'll know if they had that information locked up. So that's going on literally as we speak in Vancouver today, and I'm delighted to report that our own Sheila Gunn Reid landed in Vancouver earlier today, and she is at the courthouse right now. So we'll have reports from her later today, so I look forward to those. But just before I sat down in the chair, I said to Justin, our editor, I said, Mike Pompeo just made a statement on Twitter. I just saw it. Like, I just sat down here like 5 minutes before we turned on the camera, and I just clicked on my Twitters. And I saw that Secretary of State Mike Pompeo has made a dramatic statement. Can you call that up, please, Justin? I want to show that. And I see your super chats coming in. But let's just look at this. This was posted, as you can see, 11:38, so just 20 or 30 minutes ago. Today, I reported to Congress that Hong Kong is no longer autonomous from China, given facts on the ground. The United States stands with the people of Hong Kong. Very interesting. The reason that's important is manifold. First of all, it's morally important that America stand with Hong Kong, the free city. You can see that Mike Pompeo says he's still standing with the people of Hong Kong. But for the United States to say they're no longer independent, they're like Shanghai or Beijing or Xi'an or any other city, that will change America's attitude towards Hong Kong, not the people who are becoming more like prisoners, but the city itself. It'll change how the United States treats Hong Kong legally, financially, trade barriers, taxes, tariffs, security. And I gotta say, Hong Kong, if you've ever been to that wonderful, wonderful city, that liveliest of cities, that most hopeful, most entrepreneurial, most energetic, most colorful, most lovely city, a city that built itself up, there's nothing there. There's rocks and sea. There's no oil or diamonds, or the only resource there is the people, if you think about it. What makes Hong Kong great? It's on a rock. It's not the land, it's the people and the system and the freedom and the customs, the British legacy of the rule of law and civil liberties, the dynamism of the free market, in a Chinese, the fusion of the best of Chinese culture and the best of British culture. It truly was one of the world's greatest cities. And now it's less great because it's less free. And I think one of the interesting things about Hong Kong is that it has so many foreigners there, wealthy foreigners flocking there. It's not like many places immigration is poor people coming to a rich place to get welfare or something. They're actually quite tight for the immigration into Hong Kong from the rest of China. But there are so many Western executives who are there because of it's a trading hub, it's a financial hub, the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. There's so many, that's the Asian headquarters for so many multinationals. Where would you put your headquarters? You put it in Hong Kong. You're on the doorstep of China. You're at the mighty port. It's just the perfect place for every multinational to have their headquarters. You going to do that now? I mean, maybe. It costs an awful lot to move your headquarters, but maybe you're going to move to Singapore. Maybe you even move to Taipei. What happens when a lot of privileges that the United States grants to Hong Kong are removed? And I don't have a list of all those privileges. I think it behooves me to find out what they are. But I think this will, in fact, I don't know what time it is in Hong Kong. It's probably the night time over there. It's probably midnight or something. But when that Hong Kong Stock Exchange opens in the morning over there, do you know what time it is in Hong Kong? I think it's midnight. It's exactly 12 hours different from Eastern time. So when their stock exchange opens in the morning, you know it's going to be a dreadful day, because part of Hong Kong's strength is that it was a bridge between the West and the East, and it had access to and an affiliation with the free West. And you can imagine that a lot of companies that were on the edge are going to say, you know, we don't need this drama. We don't need these shenanigans. Let's just move to Singapore. Friendly people, rule of law, some of that British tradition. It's a benign dictatorship in some ways, Singapore, but it's more liberal than Hong Kong is now. Maybe they go to Taipei. Maybe they go to Singapore. Let me catch up with the Super Chats, just to remind you what a Super Chat is. Super Chat is something that YouTube invented. It's a way for you to make your comments stand out from the rest of the comments on the screen by chipping in a few dollars or whatever currency you use It puts it in a bright color. It appends it to the top of the box. If I don't read it out right away, Justin sends me a little message, as he's done here. I go through them. I make sure I read all the super chats because I'm grateful to you, because YouTube lets us have 70% of the revenue, and that's important. Lisa P, $2. Well, thank you very much, Lisa. Unjust on Trudeau, $2. Just got Libranos in the mail. Update on the new book? Well, I'm glad you got the Libranos in the mail, and I do not have an update on the new book, and that's starting to become an issue for me in terms of keeping promises, isn't it? David Anderson, $5. Good thing China didn't buy the Toronto Star. I'm going to come back to that later. Question, could the PM Justin Trudeau Liberals get re-elected without the Toronto Star and the CBC? Well, the Toronto Star is the largest print newspaper in Canada. It's unbelievable that it was sold for $52 million. Like that is just so stunning to me. Yesterday I was browsing through some of their old financial reports, their annual report from 2003, I think it was. They were making profit, if I'm recalling right, hundreds of millions of dollars a year. Their rate of return was so strong. They were outperforming the Toronto Stock Exchange. Just incredible how the mighty has fallen. And it's not just the Toronto Star, it's every newspaper. For $52 million, what tiny little bloggy website hasn't raised that in a venture capital round? I mean, obviously not us here at the Rebel, but that is such a low price. I wonder if that includes their office, or if they already sold. Well, I remember when Post Media, there were a lot of those deals that happened and started to come undone. The greatest value there was the real estate, the old Southern chain of newspapers. In the end, the most valuable thing was all their buildings, because a century ago, and even half a century ago, newspapers were such an institution. They were a symbol of power and wealth. In Chicago, a beautiful city I haven't been to recently, the Chicago Sun-Times building was right in the most glorious part of town, and that's what Trump took over, if I recall, and built into the amazing Trump Tower in that city. The idea of newspapers being in the most expensive real estate of a city is just a laugh now. Imagine selling the entire Toronto Star for $50 million bucks. Let me read some more here. Lisa P. Dollars, how can we legally stop Justin Trudeau coup closing Parliament? Well, that's the thing, it looks like a coup, it acts like a coup, but he only was able to do it because he's in a de facto coalition with Jagmeet Singh's NDP, with the Bloc Québécois on an occasional basis. So it's not a coup because it's not illegal, because it's not unconstitutional, it's inappropriate, it's contrary to our customs and traditions, but it is done with the collusion of the NDP. It is a working coalition. It's a working coalition. Cindy McSeven, $20. What do you think China will do if the spy is extradited to the U.S.? Thanks for all you do. Well, thank you for the kind words. Well, we'll find out very soon if indeed Meng Wanzhou, she's not really a spy, she's a senior executive with Huawei, and they want her in the United States on charges of fraud, charges of violating sanctions, world sanctions against Iran, and I think there was some intellectual property theft as well, trade secrets. So I wouldn't call her a spy, I would call her an executive at a government-backed Chinese conglomerate. I think it's actually the largest private company in China. Of course, there's no such thing. You're in bed with the communists or you're out of business. It sounds like China's pretty confident that she will not be extradited, but if she is, I don't think China will lay a glove on Donald Trump. That's the thing. Trump is so bellicose and belligerent towards China, but they would never dare take American hostages the same way they've taken the two Michael Spavor and Michael Kovrig hostage from Canada. They would never dare, because you don't do that to Donald. You don't flick Donald Trump on his nose unless you want to be pounded 5 times back on your nose. You flick Justin Trudeau on his nose, he says, thanks. I see there's a new super chat. Mike Jones, $2. Will we ever see another King Ralph Klein? Well, he was an individual, and it's unlikely you'll see someone just like him. But some of his traits you will see again, working class sensibilities, a little bit schleppy, but very normal in that way. I think that's an archetype that people will always find affectionately appealing. He had an authenticity, as the kids say these days. Trump and Klein are very different, but both of them like to upend the elites of the day, and both were plain talkers. So that's 2 similarities between them. All right, well, I have in front of me here a list of, let me just read one more super chat. Proud Boys Calgary, $5. Trudeau following example of his favorite country, the basic dictatorship. Sino partium communiste, partium liberalis, Canada delenda est. You know what, my Latin is weak, but I know what that means. It means the Chinese Communist Party and the Liberal Party of Canada must be destroyed. And you won't find an objection from me on that. Lisa P. $2. So nothing we can legally do? Are we sitting ducks? Well, Parliament is effectively dissolved. But what Parliament and the government does is still reviewable by the courts. Let me give you an example of that. I don't think I told you about this, but yesterday, can we go to lettusreport.com? Yesterday, I sent out an email, a video, about our law. Yeah, click on the top one there. Tell it to the judge. Federal court fast tracks Rebel News lawsuit against Justin Trudeau. Help us fight. So, yeah, scroll down a bit and open up the PDF there, if you can. Is it showing up on your computer? Perfect. If you just want to click that button to make it full screen there. Top right there of the little box. Bottom, yeah, right, yeah, perfect. So this is a copy, an affidavit that I swore and filed with the Federal Court of Canada. You can see it's Rebel News Network versus Canada, Privy Council, Clerk of the Privy, affidavit Ezra Levant, that's me. Filed May 25, that was on Monday. Scroll down a little bit. We're serving it on the Attorney General. Look at that, 3 lawyers. The government is throwing 3 lawyers against us. Sean Gadet, Marilyn Venny, and Benjamin Wong. I think he worked on our Elections Debate Commission. So it's a list of documents. I got an affidavit and then a bunch of what we call exhibits. Like these are sort of proof, evidence of things. So let me read, I'm just going to read a couple paragraphs. You can find this all at letusreport.com. I, Ezra Levant, of the City of Toronto and the Province of Ontario, make oath and say, I'm the founder of the Rebel News. Paragraph 2, this is an application for judicial review of the decisions of the Privy Council denying Rebel News the opportunity to make inquiries of the Right Honourable Justin Trudeau, PM Trudeau. Rebel News is a federal company. Rebel News has been granted media accreditation by governments around the world, including the United States, United Kingdom. The Privy Council is mandated to provide objective, nonpartisan support to the Prime Minister. So it's a civil service. Yeah, keep scrolling. Strong and free, Rebel News rises to the occasion, I think that says. Rebel News. So this basically outlines how we tried to phone in to Trudeau's press conference, and they never put us through. Words versus deeds, the federal government's stated commitment to the free press. So we quote Trudeau and Chrystia Freeland saying how much they love the free press. Sure, they do, in theory, but not in practice. Yeah, keep scrolling. So, and we showed Justin Trudeau talking about World Press Freedom Day. We explain more about the daily press conference, but they have a secret selection process. Even Glenn McGregor knows it's secretive and bizarre. Oh, look at that. Scroll up a tiny bit. Let me read the top here. This one and the next one are important. As of May 22nd, 2020, PM Trudeau has conducted 58 daily briefings with phone-in questions. The Privy Council has made 217 phone-in selections. Some reporters have been chosen repeatedly, sometimes 2 or 3 days in a row, as follows. And look at that. Michel Lamarche, 17 times. Mélanie Marquis, La Presse, 15 times. Raymond Filion, 13 times. Hélène Buzetti, Le Devoir, 13 times. Marie Vastel, Le Devoir, 11 times. And Teresa Wright, Canadian Press, she's based in Ottawa. So look at that. The top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 reporters, 5 out of the 6 of them are from Quebec. The last one's from Ottawa. No one from the West. No one from even Toronto or Ontario other than Ottawa. No one from BC. It's all his friends. Literally his friends from Montreal. Scroll down, look at that. 4 media outlets have secured nearly 60% of all phone-in questions at the daily briefings combined, as follows. Canadian Press, 46. TVA, Le Devoir, La Presse, 124. Again, you see the extreme bias towards Quebec. The fixes. So I go on in this affidavit, and I show proof, and I encourage you to read this thing. Talk about, we show little clippings and how other observers say things. I think it's a great, there's my signature there. And then it's actually an extremely long document because we have what we call exhibits. So this is the Privy Council office, an explanation of them. So these are exhibits to my affidavit. So we say what these things are, and for the judge's ease of reference, we show what is the clerk of the Privy Council, what is the Privy Council itself. I refer to an op-ed I did in the Globe and Mail. This is a copy of it here. So, and then hundreds of pages of transcripts of the actual questions put to Trudeau. That's the bulk of it. Oh, this is a court ruling we had when we... Anyhow, thank you very much for showing that, Justin. My point is, you ask, do we live in a dictatorship? Well, we have several branches of government. Trudeau controls the executive, that's the cabinet. He has just suspended the legislative branch, which is where most of the scrutiny happens on a day-to-day basis. That's the parliament. But the judiciary still acts. And the reason it was exciting yesterday, we had that video out, I did a video about that affidavit there, is because, as you probably know, during these times of the virus, the courts are closed, except for emergency, urgent matters. So we were sick of being excluded by the supposedly nonpartisan Privy Council. So we wanted to sue. We wanted to go to that checks and balances judiciary to keep a check on the outrageous misconduct of the executive branch. We wanted the judges to tell Trudeau and the Privy Council, you guys can't break the law just because it's a pandemic. There's no pandemic exception to freedom of the press. So we had to be certified, though, as an urgent matter, right? Otherwise, like everyone else, our justice would just be delayed. But this is time sensitive. So we appeared before a kind of judge called a prothanotary. That's a hard word to say. I'm not even sure if I'm saying it right. Via telephone conference call. So we were on the call, and Trudeau's PCO lawyers were on the call, and the judge, as prothanotary, it's a fancy word, said, all right, sounds urgent to me. Let's set this down for the whole legal process in the next few weeks. So that's what that affidavit's about. I showed you about 20 pages of it. It's actually 810 pages long, but don't freak out. About 750 of those are just transcripts of the questions. So in a very long-winded answer to your question, there is something we can do, and sometimes it's the courts. And that's what we've been doing with our Fight the Fines program, where we provide lawyers to anyone who receives an abusive ticket. And we've published 10 cases so far. Let me catch up here. Mark Gallicano, $2. Thanks very much, Mark. Pakistani Penguin, $5. Never trust blueberries. Don't know what it means, but I'm intrigued. Sobieski, $5. Trudeau will rather shut down the cottage briefings rather than risk answering non-rehearsed questions from Rebel News. You are so right. You are so right. But the great thing about this lawsuit that we're doing, if I understand it correctly, and I stand to be corrected by my own lawyers, is that it will endure even if these press conferences are shut down, because we want to review and we want to shine some sunlight on the decisions that have been made to date. So I think our lawsuit will proceed no matter what. Lisa P., $2. I'm really concerned re a coup. What can me do? Well, I don't know where you are in this country and who your MP is, but the NDP is really to blame. I saw a tweet by Jagmeet Singh, the leader of the NDP, saying, oh, what about this? What about that? Yeah, those are really good questions, mate, but you're the one who approved Parliament taking, a 6-month break in the middle of the biggest crisis in a generation? So, yeah. So talk to your MPs, what I would say. AA, $5. Ezra, please describe the look on Trudeau's face when he got your latest lawsuit. Well, let's be honest, I don't know if Trudeau even knows about it. He's sort of like a recluse now, living in his house by himself, and he's not with his wife and kids. They're in Quebec City, in Quebec, at Harrington Lake, I mean. Ezra Levant's top secret Libranos book plan. This is, Justin says that's what his face would look like. I don't know if you remember this, but when I wrote a book called The Libranos, Trudeau's election police called me in and said, what was your strategy? What was your book plan? And I said, I'll send it to you. So, yeah, can you blow that up again? So we actually sent this to them. Ezra, that's me on the left. Lawn signs equal money. And there's Trudeau, wah, wah, wah. And of course, it's a top secret plan, so I really didn't want to give it to the government. I sort of said, get your search warrant. And then what I should have done is bought one of those like really strong safes, like Al Capone's vault kind of thing, like old fancy pants 1920s bank vault type thing where the lock on the front looks like a skipper's steering wheel on a ship, right? Like you have to really spin it. And so the police show up, Mr. Levant, come out with your hands up. We have a warrant for all the information about your book. I say there, Mr. Levant, you better come out now with your hands up. And you better step away from that safe because we have here a search warrant from Justin Trudeau for what's in that safe. And I'd say, all right, Mr. Levant, if you don't give us the password and the combination for that safe, we're going to have to drill our way in. I said, well, I'll never tell. It's too top secret. You'll never get that. Well, have it your way, Mr. Levant. It's going to make an awful racket, so cover your ears. And they drill, and blow torch and get through this huge safe. You know the kind I'm talking about, the old-fashioned, old-timey big safes. And when they open the safe up, there's just that one piece of paper in there. Give me that top secret plan one more time, Justin. So all the police are there, and the guy with his drill, and the welder, and they get in there with their search warrant. Show us your secret plans, Mr. Levant. We've got a court order. All right. Here's the top secret memo. Lawn signs? Wow. That's your secret plan. You can buy a poster of that, and I think we might even have a t-shirt too. Thank you for letting me do some strange 1920s accent. Kane Enmark, $10. I was wondering if there talk about new date for Patrick Moore's Regina. I was looking to meet him and you. I had a good time at your book signing. Thanks for the school bus. Yes, I think we do have a new date for the Patrick Moore event. Let me go to reginaspeech.com. And that's the website we set up for that. And it's just loading here right now. Okay, so we should change that image. Can you send a note to Mike and get a new image? Because that says May 19th. That's when it was supposed to happen. But if you scroll down a little bit, it says Wednesday, 16th of September. And it says that at the very top right also. But obviously we have to fix it in the graphic. If you could just zip a quick note to Mike. I think we just forgot to change the graphic. So the answer, Kane, is we have rescheduled it. Now, if you can't make it, just I think there's a refund button you can push on your ticket. And obviously we approve all refunds because, you know, it's not when we said it would be. And the venue itself, said, okay, we can't even proceed. So it wasn't even our call. But I hope you can make it when it's rescheduled for the fall. I mean, Saskatchewan is so safe. Last I checked, in the entire city of Regina, Saskatchewan, do you want to Google Saskatchewan COVID-19, and that should take you on the first page of results to the Saskatchewan official numbers. When I checked a day or two ago, there was not a single case. I'm not talking about deaths. I'm talking about not a single case in Regina right now. There's no one in the hospital. There's no one even at home sick. Regina, city of more than 250,000, there's just no one who's got it. You got a greater chance of being killed by a runaway moose. And I'm not even joking about that, by the way. 30 to 40 Canadians die every year when they're driving on the highway and they hit a moose or other large wildlife. So I want to show those Saskatchewan stats because that's one of the provinces, partly because it's spread out, partly because they don't have direct international travel from China, unlike Toronto, Vancouver, etc. I don't know the other reasons. We'll have to have a post-mortem, so to speak. But so here we have the stats for Saskatchewan. So there are 5 people in the whole province right now in hospital. 5. 8 people have passed away, and that is a shame. Scroll down a little bit. So Regina, what is that? Can you zoom in a tiny bit there? What's the number for Regina? There is no one in the city who has it. And in the entire south, there's 1 person. In the entire central part of the province, nobody. Saskatoon, does that say 6? So, and then the north, and then the far north looks like they had a cluster of some sort. And that's extremely sparsely populated in the north. So there must be something going on up there. But Regina, Saskatoon, and the south, so we're talking about 900,000 people there. You got like a dozen cases. In fact, exactly a dozen. And not one case. And when I say active cases, I mean they can even be like self-quarantine at home. There is not a single person in Regina who's got the Rona. So frankly, I think we could have proceeded on May 19th. But everyone's a worrywart, so we're going to do it this fall. Cindy McSeven, keep up the fight, Rebel. Only voice we have left, it seems, these days. Thank you. Well, that's nice of you to say. We'll do our best. Lisa P., $2. Congrats on July 13th. This $2 is for that. Well, thank you very much. July 13th is when we have that court case against Justin Trudeau in his Privy Council office. Okay, so let me catch up a bit. I really haven't gone through a lot of things here, have I? In fact, I don't think I've gone through a single thing on my list, and it's already 12:33. So let's get to it, because we got a lot of great stuff here. Let's start with a duet, a diptych, a sequence of videos. I can't remember what channel this is. It might be MSNBC. So they sent a reporter down to scold people, I think it was in Wisconsin, for not wearing masks. And of course, the reporter was wearing a mask, and he was so mad that other people weren't wearing masks. And then a fellow walked by and happened to hear it, and he sort of chimes in uninvited. Have you seen this? It just made my day. Take a look at this.
Somebody who is. I met some folks actually from Lake Geneva who lived in the area. They were staying a few miles outside of town where I were, and they said they're worried about it. They're worried about that second spike. They're worried about folks coming in from Chicago, but they'll quickly add at the same time, this is a place that relies on that business. I think people here want a little bit more funding when it comes to these programs so that they could stay closed, but again, I think people felt like the Supreme Court made the decision here in Wisconsin that it was time to open up. But you can see, here, just around. Nobody's wearing them. Nobody's. The cameraman. There you go, including the cameraman. Yeah. Katie.
Captain Cruz not wearing them.
Striking images, Cal Perry. Cal, thank you very much. And
no one's wearing them, and that guy says, "Yeah, including your cameraman." Oh yeah, including our cameraman. Now that was in Lake Geneva, which I'm just looking at my Google Maps here, is sort of halfway between Chicago and Milwaukee. And it's not a long drive from Chicago. It looks like it's about an hour drive. So you can imagine, oh my God, all these Chicagoans are going to come up. So that was a wonderful moment. And I think the guy who chimed in and said no one's wearing it, including your cameraman, I think he was filming it too. And we've got that video. Take a look at this.
And they said they're worried about it. They're worried about this. So they can stay closed, but again, I think people felt like this in Wisconsin said it was time to open up. You can see it's red. Nobody's wearing,
Including the cameraman.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Exactly. Half your crew's not wearing it. Good. So thank you.
That was great. Hey, Justin, can you, there's a Twitter I'd like to show you. It's Balagis, B-A-L-A-G-I-S. Balagis, B-A-L-A-J-I-S. B-A-L-A-J-I-S. His name is Balaji Srinivasan. I think that's a Tamil name. He is a high-tech venture capital kind of guy. And I like him. I follow him. Don't agree with everything he has to say, of course. But he's a contrarian thinker. He's an independent thinker. I don't think I would call him right-wing or left-wing. He's just, I would call him a disruptor. Everyone says, I'm a disruptor. No, you ain't. But this guy is. I can just sense it. He looks at things, and I don't know how his brain is wired. Did you find it? Yeah, that's him there. And he says, not big on credentialism, need multidisciplinary effort versus virus, but if deemed relevant, bio here. So right away, I like that. He's not a show-off. He said, I'm not big on credentials. It's what you did. So scroll down. He's got interesting takes on everything, and he's wicked smart. He's really good with numbers and math, but he's an independent thinker. So you don't, in my experience, if someone's wicked good with math and numbers, they're not necessarily good at being contrarian. Keep going. There's just a little bit further, right there. So here's his commentary on the two videos we just showed. And you tell me that this guy isn't wicked smart, Balaji Srinivasan. Corporate journo tries to call out citizen for not wearing a mask. But cameramen themselves is not wearing a mask. Corporate journalists are completely unprepared for having camera turned on them. Citizens should always record encounters with reporters. P.S. Please wear a mask. Okay, that's very interesting, but it gets more interesting. Scroll down to his next tweet. It's also an example of societal dysfunction. Okay, what does he mean by that? Everyone should have been wearing a mask. Okay, obviously this guy believes in masks, including the citizen taking the video and the cameraman. But if this is the key line. This is why I think this guy's so smart. But if mask wearing is perceived as elite sanctimony rather than shared sacrifice in the service of public health, it'll be resisted. Now hold there for a second. What he's saying is, the reason this is so devastating is that the scolder, oh, you've got to do this for public health. Oh, the math is there. Oh, you've got to do this. Hang on, you're a media elite scolding us, and you don't believe in it. This is just an attempt for you to mock us and make us look bad and feel bad. This is not a shared sacrifice. It is elite sanctimony. It will be resisted. Let me read one more. He ends here, and he's so smart. Corporate journalists perceive themselves as self-appointed police. So you should treat them as such. Default to caution, record every interaction, choose to remain silent. Unlike the police, they have no democratic accountability. But as a citizen, you can turn the camera around. You know what? That's probably a 50-word tweet. Have you ever seen so much wisdom crammed into 50 words? I'm going to read that tweet one more time. Corporate journalists perceive themselves as self-appointed police, so you should treat them as such. Oh my God, that's so true. Default to caution. Be careful. Don't trust them. Record every interaction. You'd better, because they're going to lie about it. Choose to remain silent. Yeah, that's so right. Unlike the police, though, and so he's sticking up for the police here, at least the police have democratic accountability. If a cop does something wrong to you, they got a complaints commission, they got a chief, theoretically they could be fired by the police commission, right? They're answering to the mayor. But as a citizen, so he's ending on a hopeful note, you can turn the camera around, and that's exactly what happened here. So you see why I like this Balaji Srinivasan? Like he's a pro-mask guy, because he's a bit of a mathematician. So, but he's not being a sneering scold about it, is he? He's sort of the opposite. He's saying, hey guys, we can't make this an elitist thing. We can't make this a sanctimonious thing. We can't make this a lord over other people thing, or it's going to break. That's not, and then the real purpose, which this guy believes the mask is important for public health. And frankly, if you look at South Korea or Taiwan or countries like that, they all seem to be wearing masks, and I don't know why. Maybe it's for public health, maybe it's custom, maybe it's peer pressure, maybe it's people have to feel they have to do something. If I wear my mask, if everyone wears a mask outside, can we avoid the lockdown? Can we avoid the restaurants being shut down? Can we avoid the schools being shut down? Can we still have air travel? So it's like a placebo, maybe. But this Balaji Srinivasan is saying, if you dare to make it about sanctimony, it'll blow up on you. You see why I call him a smart guy? I hope his smarts shone through for you. Some more super chats. Maz, $10. Pharma companies are immune from liability for damages by their vaccines. So by this fact alone, would it mean they have no standing at all to peddle a mandatory vaccine? I don't know if what you just said there is true. I know that drug companies are sued all the time, are they not? I'm not an expert in the field, so I'm just going by a vague sense of things. In fact, I think there's lawsuits against drug companies and doctors all the time, I think. Now, I think Bill Gates has very clearly, in fact, there's a famous video circulating of him in the last month saying we need to indemnify vaccine makers from lawsuits. Oh yeah, that won't create a moral hazard, will it? David Koziar, 533. Ezra, can you pull up that picture of Alyssa Milano with her knitted mask? It's on her Twitter. Oh my God, that was so good. Do you know the one, Justin? Oh my God, it made me laugh so hard. And, you know, some people might think that that's a joke. I don't think it's a joke. I think she really, I don't know. I mean, there's a theory out there. Yeah. Can you zoom in on that? That thing's knitted. So, it looks like her husband's wearing like a, quote, real mask. I don't think it's an N95 one. And her kids are wearing, looks like a cloth mask, but hers has holes in it. I think she knitted it herself. And that's the thing, you know why she knitted it? Because it's more comfortable. Why? Because it's breathable. But that's the whole point of a mask, is so you don't breathe in the aerosolized virus. Like if someone sneezes, I don't mean to gross you out, but that's a little bit of moisture that carries the virus in it. When someone sneezes, it's a mist. I don't mean to be gross, sorry. And that's why you need a mask that filters it out. That's why in some cases you wear goggles too. If you have a mask with holes in it, it don't work then. Do it. Now some people think that Donald Trump deliberately puts typographical errors in his tweets because he knows his opponents will seize on them and retweet them and say, oh, what an idiot. But they're actually the idiot because they just supercharged his tweet and he got everybody to read them. You know, you put one typo in a tweet as Donald Trump, you do a regular tweet as Donald Trump, maybe it gets 100,000 retweets. You do an embarrassing, oh, I'm so embarrassed that I spelled a word wrong because that has never happened to anyone before. I will never recover from this humiliation. So Donald Trump makes a spelling error on purpose, by accident, and the entire Trump derangement left screenshots it because, oh my God, he's going to delete. I better screenshot this, and I better tweet it to my entire opinion circle. Okay, so you took a 100,000 retweet tweet, and you just doubled or tripled the viewership of it. So maybe that's what she's doing here. Okay, well, I showed you that scolding. I want to play for you a very short video And it's well done. It's just a cell phone video. I don't know if you remember, about a month ago, Gavin Newsom, the joyless governor of California, had bulldozers pushing sand into the famous skateboard parks. I think that's at Venice Beach. I think it's in LA. I'm not sure if it's at Venice Beach or. If you've ever been to Venice Beach, it's such a wonderful place. I mean, yeah, it's super hippie and there's some gross parts to it too, but it's just such a wonderful place. And you know what? There's nowhere safer than the beach. You're outdoors, UV sunlight, which kills the bugs, well ventilated. You don't have to worry about someone sneezing. Like you're in a house or an airplane or a car, someone sneezes. Yeah, you better have a mask on. You're outdoors with a nice breeze in the hot sun with the UV light. You don't got to worry about nothing. I've told you already that there was a study of 312 virus clusters. Not a single one of them was spread through casual outdoor contact. And you got the UV sun, and you're out in the outdoors, and you're hopefully not looking at your screen on your camera. There is nothing safer than being out. And Gavin Newsom fills in the skateboard park with sand. Well, let me show you a video. And the musical accompaniment to this video, which will surely demonetize this YouTube stream, is just so perfect. It's an LA sound for an LA summer, and there's a little bit of LA freedom going on. Don't it make you want to go to Venice Beach right now? Take a look at this. That makes me feel very good. That makes me feel great, makes me want to go down there. Young people, healthy people, having fun, a little bit of exercise, doing some work in the sun, community of purpose. I just sent you an email, Justin, if you can grab it and put the image up. I don't know, maybe it's because I like that old song. That's Sweet Child of Mine, of course. And don't worry, I'm not going to sing it. But I think my favorite part of that was the people of different backgrounds. Do you have that meme? I just emailed you. I don't know if it came through quick enough. I'll send it by WhatsApp. It's no big deal. Whoop, I sent you the wrong thing. Yeah. You know this meme? The epic handshake, know your meme? The brotherly union of two people here depicted as black and white in great friendship. The epic handshake meme. That's what I liked about it. Black and white, men and women, rich and poor, all united together, clearing off Gavin Newsom's sand. I loved that video. It was very short. Speaking of that, here's a little video of a kid, not a man, a kid, showing common sense that sometimes only kids have. You know, the emperor has no clothes. Here's a kid at a playground doing what kids do. Take a look.
I'm doing it. This guy is done with the playground being shut down. He's taking it into his own hands, and he is our hero of the day.
Hero of the day. I don't know where that was. Was that in Santa Monica? Also, I don't know where that pier was. It doesn't even matter. That kid was done. You know, they say don't run with a pair of scissors, and that is so true, because it's just a bad idea, right? But there's kid scissors, you know, those little, and they have round tips to them, because you don't need a pokey scissor for most things. Like if you're just a kid cutting paper or cardboard or whatever, you just need the scissors to be a little bit sharp, but you don't need the pokey end of it. So there's a lot of kids' scissors for sale at any dollar store. And first of all, they're short because they're little hands, right? You don't need long scissors. So short scissors, they're sort of dull, and the end is curved so it's not pokey. So the whole scissors is like that big, right? Perfect for putting in your pocket as a mom or a dad. Why would you do that? Well, go to the park with your little one. You got that scissors in your pocket, very discreet, very small. You see some police tape. I would never recommend committing mischief against police property, but, you know, Things happen in the dead of night. I don't know anyone who would do that, though. So you've got, blessed are the children, they will lead the way. As Whitney said, I believe the children are our future. And that kid, future's bright, but don't count out the Karens just yet. Karen, of course, the nickname for the scoldy type. It was a Karen in that MSNBC. There's male Karens, of course, too, like the guy who was shaming others for not wearing a mask when his own team didn't. Look at this Staten Island. That's a borough in New York City. This is a grocery store. There was someone in there without a mask. Oh my God, I thought she was going to be tied up. Take a look at this.
Get out!
Yeah, grown ass woman that acts like a dirty ass kid.
Dirty ass hoe! What do you think?
Fucking tree.
Oh my God, they've gone mad. If you don't wear a mask, it's like Nathaniel Hawthorne's Scarlet Letter. So the adulteress had to wear a red A. It's the inverse here, reverse, obverse, whatever reverse. If you're not wearing a mask, they would never treat a mere adulteress that way. They would never treat a convicted criminal that way. But if you're not wearing a mask, oh my God, it's exactly what that Balaji Srinivasan said, isn't it? It was a way for those women who aren't exactly the picture of, put that video up in B-roll, let me talk over it. Can you do that? Those women were not exactly the picture of perfect health, were they? I don't think so. I shouldn't talk. I'm about 75 pounds too fat myself. But yeah, I mean, that mobility scooter thing is just when you've given up even pretending. So you're shouting, you're heckling at someone because they don't have the mask because I don't want to be unhealthy. Sister, you passed that mark a long time ago. I'm not going to show you the New York woman in the park because it's too long to get into that properly. Did you say we've got some viz from Sheila? So our friend Sheila Gunn-Reid is in Vancouver today, and I'm so proud of Sheila's work. And she's a busy mom, and she's on the farm, and she's got a family. And I said, Sheila, you want to go to Vancouver to cover this Meng Wanzhou Huawei trial? I said, I felt a little bad saying, but she said she would check with her family, and she was able to leave for the day. So I'm very grateful. She got up so early, before the crack of dawn. I think she was on the plane at 6:30. That's early. And she made it to Vancouver, and I haven't seen this. This footage has come in while I was sitting here. So this is what we call B-roll. Is there sound on tape? Let's just play it. So China release 3 million Uyghurs from detention camps. 1 million apparently detained in China. So 3 million or 1 arbitrarily. Sorry, I couldn't quite arbitrarily. Thank you. Yeah, keep playing that. So it looks nice in Vancouver today, doesn't it? So those are protesters. Uyghurs, of course, is that the only clip we have? Yeah, let's just play them. Uyghurs, of course, are a Muslim ethnicity in the Xinjiang province, which is in the west of China. I've been to Xinjiang, and I'll never forget it because clear CCP red penetration, extradition of Meng Wanzhou. No Huawei in Canada. I like that one. Stop CCP, stop Huawei. I like the bloody hand there. And the Canadian flag, there's a mask, there's a guy without a mask. There's different factions in the Chinese community in Vancouver. You have democracy activists, you have Uyghurs, you have Tibetans, you have Hong Kongers who came over in 1997. Clear red penetration. I don't know if that's an allusion to something. Any more viz or just those two? So the Chinese who were here historically have Canadian values of freedom and civil liberties. And the Chinese who came over in 97, the Hong Kong handover, obviously were very jealous of their liberties and we're here because, do we have to flee? So here we are 23 years later, and indeed they do have to flee Hong Kong. As I showed you, Mike Pompeo says it's no longer a free city. But in that interregnum, in the last 23 years, hundreds of thousands more Chinese have come to Canada, but not from the liberal tradition of Taiwan or Hong Kong or places like that. They come from mainland China and they still have an affection and affinity. That's a good, look at that. Release 3 million Uyghurs from detention camps. Extradite Meng Wanzhou. I'm so glad Sheila was there, aren't you? Looks so nice. I gotta get out on the road again. I've been cooped up here. I gotta get a haircut. It's so bad. Seriously, how could I do worse than this? If I had the Flowbee, I would take care of it. So Sheila's out there. We should have her report later today. It's 12:56. So I want to show you what's going on in the streets of Hong Kong, and this makes me extremely sad. You know what? It's funny. I wanted to take the family to Hong Kong over Christmas. I know that sounds crazy. Who goes to Hong Kong over Christmas? I mean, last Christmas. Nobody. And so I was outvoted on that one. Why would you go to Hong Kong over Christmas? It's not a vacation destination, really. Certainly not for a family. It's not a sunny place to go. But I sort of sensed in my bones it would be maybe the last time to go, that place would be free. I think I told you that I went to the Notre Dame Cathedral just a couple years ago, and I spent the whole day there. And I, in my bones, thought, I won't be able to, I swear. And I felt the same way about the Eiffel Tower. I thought I'd better see these things because I may not have the chance again. I know that sounds crazy and paranoid, but that's what I thought. I'm just telling you my secret thoughts. And that's how I felt in December about Hong Kong. I thought I'd better go, better take the kids. And alas, now I fear that I will not be able to do so. Because I certainly, with my criticism of China, could not go to Shanghai, Beijing, or any other mainland cities again. Hong Kong I could, but if what they're doing, here, let's play the video of the police just raging through that city, Tiananmen style almost. Take a look. I think those are rubber bullets they're shooting, which hurt like hell, but typically don't kill. I am deeply afraid that they will one day resort to real bullets like they did in Tiananmen Square. A couple more super chats. Unjust on Trudeau, $2. Ezra, make some fire tam masks and sell them. Wow, that's terrifying. Philip Smurleys, Trudeau loves communism, banning guns is a warning. Yeah, what's that got to do with the pandemic? Nothing. What's it got to do with the Nova Scotia mass shooting? Nothing. It's just Trudeau opportunistically using a crisis to expand the power of the state, or more to the point, his own power. Well, my friends, it's 12:58. Oh, there's one I missed. Okay, well, let me, I'm hearing in my ear that more have come in. John Velkamp, oh my gosh, $100 super chat, that's amazing. Thank you very much. Thank you, Ezra, and your whole team. Well, I will pass on your thanks to the team. We have 2 team meetings a day via Skype. Now, Sheila, of course, is on the road, and actually Kian is in Ottawa today, so they may or may not be able to join. But I feel good that we're getting out there again. You know, we were all cooped up. Let's get out there again. Victoria Parliament. Will you be at the Defiance rally in Toronto on Saturday? If that's what you're calling the rally at Queen's Park, I think we have covered it 5 weekends in a row. So I myself might not be in attendance, but I'm quite sure someone, or maybe multiple people from our team will be. Unjust on Trudeau, $2. I won't wear a mask. I won't speak moistly. Promise. Yeah, that's Trudeau's phraseology. Well, thank you for the support, especially for that very generous $100 super chat, John. I appreciate that. That's the show for today. Boy, that hour went by quick. I like to end with a dog video because they make me 5 to 38% happier. And we need a little bit of that these days. So let me say goodbye to you now. Thank you very much for your support. And let me roll out with this little dog video curated by our dog video curator, Justin. Take a look.
So, I bought on eBay 400 used tennis balls. Thor knows what's in this box, so he's opening it. Oh, you only got one, honey. There's 200 more in there. Why don't you... Ready?
So are all those tennis balls!